And now, the giant Forky-inspired project is complete. The first step was just to give him a good solid skeleton. I had originally chose to use an old paint roller and a handle for extra structure. Although it wasn't really necessary, I'm glad I did it. I built up the shape of what was originally intended to just be a spoon using cardboard until I got it to where I wanted, and then I used craft paper to cover all the openings. Then I coated the whole thing in spray foam. I used water to help me mold it a bit. After that, once it was cured, it was time to sand. And let me tell you, the sanding was a process. There were lots of great suggestions on ways that I could make this easier that I saw in my comments, so I'll likely try some of those on the next project. Then it was time to say goodbye to the spoon and hello to a spork. After using a hacksaw, I cleaned it up a bit, shaved even more off to get the look that I wanted, filled in the newly created holes, added more spray foam, then I covered it in lightweight spackling, filling in some of the voids. I used a watered down version for the second coat, which smoothed it out a bit. Then a couple coats of wood glue were added. This created a nice shell and also gave it some extra durability. After giving it a light sanding, I coated it with Plastidip. Now, I feel this was unnecessary, but I wanted to try it as I had never used it before. Then I got to work on his base, which was built with just scrap wood. After that, I covered it with the same technique, filler, spray foam, spackling, and then glue. But instead of Plastidip, I just spray painted it. I used some spray foam to make the eyebrow and mouth. After the spackle, I added the glue, then spray painted, got them attached, and then messed around with the googly eyes, adding clock mechanisms to make them move. Once those were in place, I used resin for the appearance of glitter glue around his eyes. And then using half of a sphere silicone mold, I created his buttons with resin as well. The giant glitter is just chopped up tinfoil. I attached those using hot glue and then worked on the giant pipe cleaner, which took forever. It was made with yarn and wire, and then it was just a lot of cutting. I messed around with attaching it to his body, bending the hands and whatnot. I altered the color of his popsicle sticks a bit. Then I designed his rainbow sticker and put that on. And after that, it was time for a good trim. And I mean a really good trim. Like seriously. This was an hour and a half, and it was extremely messy. I didn't think it was ever going to end, but eventually it did, and I was extremely happy with the result. After that, it was time to finish up the project by adding the signature name on the bottom of his feet. After creating a blank canvas, I then painted it to look like broken popsicle sticks, mapped out Bonnie's name, and then painted it on there.